host, Deborah Burrus, dedicated to helping you unlock your inner potential and live a life that resonates with your deepest values. Here on Your Heart Matters, we explore the tools, insights, and stories that empower you to embrace change, find clarity, and nurture the passions that make your heart sing. Whether you're navigating career shifts, seeking personal growth, or simply trying to find a bit more balance in your day-to-day life, this is the place for you. Join me each week as we chat with inspiring guests, share practical tips, and dive into heartfelt conversations designed to help you live your most authentic and fulfilling life. Your journey towards a more meaningful existence starts now because your heart truly matters. Today, we're thrilled to have a truly remarkable guest with us. Mary Murrill is a survivor, an overcomer, and a leader. She was the victim of gun violence, a survivor of breast cancer, and a divorced mother of two. She is CEO owner of Rescue Me Virtually, a member of the American Businesswomen's Association, the Maryland Capital Chapter, and president of Equipment Connections for Children, an author, co-author of several books. Her story is a testament to the human spirit's power to persevere, transform, and thrive despite the odds. As we stated, today's topic is living beyond adversity, and no better person who can share her story with us than none other than Mary Murrill. Welcome to the show, Mary. It's such an honor to have you here.
Thank you, Pastor Burrus. Thank you for having me and inviting me. That was a wonderful introduction. I love to meet her. But thank you so much for inviting me and allowing me to share my story.
Yes, yes. People usually say that when they hear an introduction to be like, are they talking about me? You know, it's like, yes, yes. But you have accomplished a lot and done a lot. Um, and I know that you're still evolving, but I want us to go back a little bit to the beginning to share with us some of your story of the beginning when you first started dealing with this particular adversity. Can you do that for us?
Yes, I can. I can. um, so my story started like in March. I think it's 85. Um, I was uh with my family, with my cousins, and we were just having a day. You know, you have your nice Saturday
Yeah.
time together, spending time together. And things shifted. Things shifted. My cousin was in a troubled relationship, and her boyfriend came. And when he did come, he came armed unexpectedly. He came armed, and he tried to get her from the home that we were in. We were together, and he was trying to get her from the home. So that, of course, started into an argument. And before we know it, shots rang out. It was unexpected. When you're in a relationship with somebody, you don't really expect for the moment to turn tragic so quickly. You think that you can kind of calm the situation down and things like that. And for us, it wasn't that case. So that started a whole new life for me. Unfortunately, they didn't make it. It was me and two of my cousins. So unfortunately, they didn't make it, but I did. So
So
during that time,
they didn't
right,
make it, but you did
they
after
didn't,
the
but I
shooting.
did.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yes, and that was at that moment. Um, all I could think of was, God, I I can't die. I
Mm.
can't. During that time, I had a 5-year-old, and all I could think about was my daughter, and that's what kept me awake and alert. The police came, and when they came, the paramedics came, and the first thing they asked, because they couldn't find an entrance for the bullet. So the first thing they asked me was I sure I was shot?
Mm.
I told them yes. I'm positive. So they did. They searched for the bullet. They finally found it. They couldn't take me out on a regular ambulance because I wouldn't have never made it to the hospital. So they had to call for the helivac
Yeah.
to fly in. So that's what it did. We had a heliport down the street. Luckily, it was just down the street. They had a water plant, and it landed right there. Once they got me onto the helicopter, they kept telling me the same thing: don't fall asleep. And I told them they didn't have to worry about me falling asleep. So we landed on the roof of shock trauma.
Mm.
That's where the doctors, they came in and they whisked me away. They put me on oxygen and then they took me away. When I woke up again, I think I held the lady was pumping the mask over me when I woke up
Uh-huh.
again. Um, and I woke up again, and it could have been a couple of days later. I remember I was on a striker frame. They put you on a frame to keep your body stable, and they will flip you, to make sure that your
Right.
blood is. Um, so I woke up, when I woke up again. Then after that, when I woke up, I saw a friend of mine, and I was trying to talk, and I couldn't. But that's when I had the tube down my throat, so I
Yeah.
couldn't physically talk, but I could write. Still, I was dazed because I didn't really realize. I knew what had happened, but I just wasn't sure. So I
Right.
kept asking about my cousins, how were they doing? Did they make it? And they told me that they didn't. But from that time forth, honestly, the only thing I could do is rejoice and be excited because God saved me.
Wow.
And God gave me another opportunity at life, and that's all I could think. So from that time on, I could just have joy. That was not joy because of what happened to me, joy because I'm still here, despite I might not have been, because see, during that time I didn't know whether I was gonna be able to walk or not.
Right.
So despite that, it didn't matter. I was still living, so I was excited just to
Mm.
be.
So that became your motivation, so to speak.
Mhm.
Wow. Wow. So how I guess that was a complete journey of going through that because I'm pretty sure you didn't just go right in and then come right out of the hospital. Was that what was that
Right.
process like?
Um, that took some time. I
Mm.
had to almost like relive life,
Yeah.
things that we take the things that we take advantage of. As far as just sitting up, I had
Mm.
to learn how to sit up. That was a process. That wasn't okay. The next day I just sat up. I had to lay for a long time. I had to learn how to turn to the left, turn to the right, pull
Because you couldn't
myself
move your
up.
body? Is that what it
Right, because
was?
of
You
the
could
weight. Yes. Because I only could feel
okay.
from my navel up. So
You could
all of the
only feel
body
from your
kind
navel up. Okay. So
yeah.
this process this paralyzed you. The
Yes.
gunshot. Okay, go
Right,
ahead.
it paralyzed me. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay. That's
Yes, I'm
okay.
glad you got
Wow.
it. Yes, it did. It paralyzed me from my waist down. So it did do damage. So this one bullet, it hit my stomach, my kidney, my lungs, and it landed in my spine. Right
Hmm.
there. So it hit a lot,
Wow.
and it nicked my heart as well. So it
Okay.
did. It did up once it got in, it did a lot of traveling. So
So
yeah.
once a fully able person, able to do everything, walk, go,
Mhm.
do, run, whatever,
Mhm.
now you're in a
Mhm.
situation where you've got to learn how to do things differently
Yes. Yeah.
because of the accident. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, I had to learn how to do things differently. So yeah, just getting dressed. Forget getting dressed. That wasn't happening no time soon. It's just being able to stabilize myself, to be able to sit up, be able to eat and things like that. So like I could still move my hands and eat, but just the process of sitting up to eat, because I couldn't do that.
Right.
Um, they had to tie me when I rolled to my side, they had to tie me to the bed to keep me there. And then they had to come back a couple of hours later and tie me to the other side in order to keep me there. And they had to pull me to sit up and keep me propped up with pillows. So I had to do that for a while. And then gradually, when I learned to sit up, then it was okay, now put my legs over the edge of the bed and be able to sit up that way with my legs hanging down because they're heavy. So I had to
Right.
learn to do that. And then they would pick me up and put me in a chair and then tie me to the chair so that I could sit up for a while. And that right there was a little bit painful just to sit up like that because it was a lot on my back. I'm not
Mm,
used to sitting like that. But all of
wow.
that, it just took a lot of time just to get that. Because I wound up staying in the hospital about 3 months. That's just a regular hospital. That doesn't include rehab.
Wow.
So that's just
So
a
so your
regular hospital.
motivation is still going strong through this process. You're
Oh
still
yes.
shouting
Oh
and
yes.
celebrating God and
Oh,
being
most
thankful and
definitely.
being
Yeah.
determined. And in the book, you share some things. Mary is co-author of the book Set Apart and Chosen. And in the book, Mary has some really interesting things to say, how the hospital was even surprised at her desire to do more and to push forward and everything. One of the things that you said in the book was determination kept me from getting depressed. And I think that's just awesome because I think I would have been depressed. I
Mm-hmm.
can't say how I would feel in that situation because I'm not you. But I think it could very easily happen for somebody to be depressed for, going through that. But you said the depression didn't set in. You said you had a,
No.
a little girl to think about, to
Yes.
raise and everything, and you had that determination. Talk about that for a little bit because people
Yeah.
need to hear that because when you go through adversity, that's the quick thing to go to the woe is me pill and I'm sad and just
Mm-hmm.
scared. So talk about that determination a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. Beside me, decided he had to raise my daughter. Um, what kept me going is not what I can't do, it's what I
Mm,
can do. So I
mm,
focus on the things that I can do and things that might have been a little challenging. I thought of ways to get around it. So I don't think about what I can't.
yeah.
I'm very, and if somebody tell me I can't, I'll find ways to prove that I can. So
Wow.
that's just how I am when I get very determined in what I'm going to do, because I'm not going to let my circumstances dictate to me what I can and
Mm,
can't do.
mm-hmm.
You just have to have that attitude, and then when you have people around you that encourage you, even people that did come in when I was in the hospital, um, people didn't know what to say. Like when they came in the room, I had probably
Sure.
people didn't visit me because they didn't know what to say because they didn't know how I
Mm,
felt.
right.
So I had one, it was a pastor that came to visit me. He said it took him a while to get in my room. He paced up and down the hallway because he just didn't know what to say to me when he came in the room. So when he came in the room, he was surprised to see the joy on my face, that I was happy. He says, as a matter of fact, I encouraged him. So before he left, I lifted up his spirits because he didn't
Yeah.
know what to expect. And I know
Right.
a lot of people did that. When they left out of my room, I had them laughing. They just didn't
Wow.
know what to expect when they came in the room. Yeah, because I,
That's
I didn't, I don't want what was me.
Wow, that's
Oh,
beautiful because something like that can be devastating because even
mhm,
after you left the hospital, then you had to learn how to function again, totally
mhm.
different. And now you're in a wheelchair. So how did that process go along with
Yeah,
learning to be in a wheelchair all the time?
I know, right? So that was pretty good. So before I left the hospital, they make sure that you're able to get around, know
Okay.
how to maneuver in a wheelchair. That's
Mm.
why I think one of the parts in the story is when I talk about I had to learn how to pop a wheelie, right?
Pop a
I had to
wheelie. And
pop a
that's the only thing
wheelie.
yeah, it's the only thing I knew. When I
Yeah,
saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, she popped a wheelie in a
yeah.
wheelchair. We hear about that on bikes, but I never heard about her popping a wheelie. But that was to get you up on the curve. And
Yes, that's
I
how I
mean,
had to
things
get.
that we don't even think about. Wow.
Yeah, I had to learn
Yes.
how to do for that chair because, you know, uh, back then we had more dips and curbs than we do than before, and sometimes curbs are kind of high. So I had to
Right.
learn to get off and on the curb and get on it proper because if not, I would have fell. So I had
Wow.
to learn how to
To
do
whip it
that.
up there
Yeah,
to
yeah, get to the chair. Yeah, so yeah, I had to learn how to do that. And then before I even got to the chair and learn how to pop a wheelie, I had to learn to sit on a ball. One of those huge
yeah.
balls. I
Right.
had to learn how to balance on the
The
ball,
balance. Yeah.
right, to keep my balance so I wouldn't fall. And then on the ball, I had to throw, those medicine balls are heavy. So they had to throw the medicine ball to me and I had to catch it and still keep my balance. So yeah,
Wow.
that's how.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are one of the things I had to learn. And then in rehab, I had to learn how to cook. Not that I didn't know how to cook, but I had to learn to get next to a stove and get
On a
next to a
different level and everything,
right
because now
because
you're
I just can't.
seated.
So you can't just roll straight in front and just like I would somebody would stand in front of the stove. I can't stand. I mean, I can't roll
Right.
straight in front of a stove. I have to kind of go on an angle or on the side
Right.
in order to cook. Then I have to remember, don't spill. Now I didn't did this too. I cooked and had a plate, and I had set the plate on my lap to do something else because that was the
Yeah.
closest to me, not knowing that the plate was hot. So I wound up burning my legs.
Yeah.
A lot of things you don't know could happen to your body that if you're not paying close attention. So my mother
Right.
had to make me a hot pad just to sit on my little
Okay.
bed. But yeah, just have to be careful. Grease, water, anything. If it spills, pops, anything like that. So I had to learn how to make sure I cook and do it safely.
Yes. So all of your routine changed.
All
Your
of it.
whole routine for bathing, washing, whatever it was that you were doing. But one of the
Yes.
things that you talk about also is the fact that you learned how to drive.
Yes. Yes. I had to learn how to drive. I had to take the driving test all over again. You know, when you first take your driving test, you it's like a woosah moment. Like,
Right.
yes, I
Yeah.
have this accomplished. I don't have to do this again. I got
Right.
over. Yes, I had to take that driving test again because now I have hand controls in my car, and hand controls are different than you use driving with your feet. So I had to learn how to put my brake on, step on the gas, at the right time, just using my hands and turning the steering wheel at the same time. So that
Yeah.
took a little bit of time, but I was determined because I had to be dependent on people taking me to the store, taking me to the doctors and things like that. So I didn't want to depend on anybody. I like to go when I'm ready to go. I want to be able to control when I leave and when I come and go.
Right.
So I did. I decided to find out how I could drive. So while I was in rehab, I took a driving. I had a driving instructor that taught me how to use the hand controls and that's what I did. And in the process of doing that, I also had to learn how to get my wheelchair in and outside of the car myself. So
All
that
by
meant
yourself.
all by
Okay.
myself. So that meant taking the wheels off. I had to take both the wheels off of the chair. I had to take the leg rest off of the chair, fold the chair up, um, put it behind me, and then put my wheels behind me. Before I could begin to drive. So I had to learn how to drive that because during that time I didn't have any it wasn't no mechanisms or anything for me to use to get my chair in and outside the
Hmm.
car. I had to do it on my own.
Yes.
Yeah, that
And
was
and
new.
then get yourself into the car.
Yes, yeah. So I had to get
Wow.
myself in the car first and then break the chair down. And back then I had the car with the seat, the car with the seat would push down, or you push the
Yes.
seat up a little bit and somebody climb. So I had the two door. So I had to learn to move the seat up some in order to fold the chair and get the chair behind me, and then pull it out and get it back out.
Oh my, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking with the amazing Mary Murrill, and she is letting us know about her situation and her adversity that she went through. And it's such a compelling and inspiring story that we're listening to her, a victim of a gunshot incident that left
Mhm.
her paralyzed, but it did not stop her. And as we say, her friends around her say, when you meet Mary, the wheelchair disappears. It becomes invisible because she is
Mhm.
such a loving spirit and everything. Mary, one of the things that people um, deal with when they're going through an adversity is having a support system. Did you
Mhm.
have a good support system during this process?
Yes, I did. I did. My most definitely my mother was my biggest supporter, my champion. She made sure I was taken care of. The time I was in the hospital, she made sure that I was at the right hospital. She just didn't let them send me anywhere. She made sure I had the rehab that I needed. It was an organization that helped me as far as getting my chair, I'm sorry, getting my car equipped for me. Um, it was through the state. It was
Hmm.
organization that she found. So my medical supplies, everything, all of that was taken care of through that company. But it was and when it was time for me to come home, because they have to look at your home before you go to make sure that your home is equipped for you to move into it. And I was not going to
Okay.
one of those facilities. So my
Right.
mother made sure that her house was ready and prepared because they had to do an in-house inspection. So she made sure her house was prepared for me to move in. So that was a blessing. I had to wind up staying in the living room at her house. But
Mm,
after I came home, then she found an apartment for me so that I'll be able to maneuver and get around better on my own for me and my daughter.
mm,
So
mm,
then I was able to move straight from there into the apartment, and I was able to maintain that apartment on my own. So my mother made sure all of that was okay. And then on top of that, I had family that made sure I was okay and supportive.
mhm,
I had church members during that time. I had church members that were very supportive. So I had an excellent, excellent support system. When the scripture says that God will supply all of your needs,
all of your
oh
needs.
yes, I
Thank
was
you,
taking
Jesus.
care of. He took care of me.
Yes. Yes. I mean, that's just remarkable. So what would you say to somebody who's dealing with adversity but may not have that support system that you had?
Mhm.
What what
Mhm.
what kind of things could they do?
Um, I would tell them to mostly focus on the things that make you happy and get you excited. So, like, focus
Mm,
on that, whatever it is, whether you have a hobby, whether you like to read, whatever it is, focus on that. And with you focusing on that, then find like-minded people that like to do the same thing. So
mm.
if you like to crochet, if you like to sing, whatever that is, find like-minded people in that group. That'll keep you, focus on the
The
joyous
joy
part.
part
And
is
honestly, you might even find somebody else that's going through something similar to whatever your situation is. And you also, and think it this way too, you can also be an encouragement to somebody else because there's always somebody worse than you are.
mm,
Always.
so
Um,
true.
yeah, so when I got in my chair, it was one story of one lady that I thought was amazing. She lived her whole life inside of it was almost like a pressure chamber.
Hmm.
um, she couldn't walk, she couldn't do anything. She had to be dependent on somebody to feed her. She laid straight on her back, and she had to look through the mirror in order to talk to people.
Hmm.
Now that lady was worse off than me.
Yeah.
At least I get to go
Yeah.
around. So it's always somebody worse off than you. I remember one time I was in the hospital, and um my pastor then came to visit me, and this day I was a little disheartened only because I had lost the hearing in my ear.
Mm,
I kept saying, God, I can't walk. I said, now I can't hear. I don't understand. So that only that day, I just felt a little down. And
hmm.
she told me, she said, but you have another ear. So you have two ears. So you still have function in one. So don't focus on the one that's not working. You still have one that's working. So
Yeah.
I got mad because I'm thinking she wouldn't come into my pity party. But it gave me something to look at. Well, yeah, she is right. I do have another ear, and you have people out here that can hear. Both their ears are gone. So I
Right.
always look at the better part. We sometimes don't focus on what I can't. Focus on what I can, what I have. Focus on that part. I would tell anybody.
And that's so true, and that's good information for anybody that may be dealing with some type of adversity. Adversity comes in all kinds of forms. It may not be physical, it may be
Right.
emotional, it may be mental, different things like that. But one of the things that God wants us to do, like He tells us in His Word, be content with such things as ye have. So sometimes we may want that pity party or
Yeah.
something, or to feel sad about what we don't have. But if we could
Right.
learn to look on the good things,
Mm-hmm.
the pure things, the things that are lovely, the things that are honest, all of those
Yes.
things, to look
Yes.
on those good things that no matter what the adversity is, God is going
Mm-hmm.
to help to bring us through it. And I think you're showing us that by helping us to see that, wow, in the beginning you were talking about this story, but as we're moving along in this story, you talk about how you were able to overcome the different
Yes.
obstacles that you were facing and the things that you had to do, and we have people out here now who may not even be experiencing half of what you have gone through, but have thought about giving up, thought
Right.
about, I can't make it another day. But you use this situation and you begin to move forward. So let's start transitioning how you became the famous Mary Murrill
Oh
that
no.
you are today.
Oh my goodness, that's such a oh, that's a lot. Okay. So so always I always thank and honor God for everything that He's has done in my life. So during my times of growth as I've been going along, God has always put awesome men and women of God in my life. So um as I've traveled to not that I traveled, I've gone to different ministries,
Mhm.
but what excites me the most is I was never treated any differently from an able-bodied person. And maybe it's because that's how I
Mm.
carried
You
myself.
carried
But
yourself.
I got so excited that nobody treated me differently. And when I got to where I am now at Set the Captives Free,
Shout
that
out to
place,
Dr. Karen Bethia,
yes, yes,
the one and only.
yes, that has become my family. You get everything there spiritually and naturally. You anything that you
Okay.
want that's going on in your life, you will get your need met where it
Mm.
is. And then when I got there and saw Pastor Karen, because she remembers me from the old church, the love that she just poured out on me
Mhm.
um is I can't even describe it. I can't. So I thank God for that place. But I wanted to be on the choir because I like to sing. So I wanted to be on the choir. So at that time we had choir robes. So her and Elder Jan got together and they wanted to get me a choir robe to be
Oh,
on the choir. Um, it's always been an encouragement. I was just never treated any different. Whatever ministry I was in the sound booth ministry
hmm.
back then. So I got in sound
Right.
booth ministry and um, and now in leadership, but it was never a hindrance, never treated any differently. So I'm excited to be in a place that I am now and then feel the love that I feel and then have so many different outlets there at Set the Captives Free. So it's like having a whole complete circle of my needs being met right there in one place. So yeah.
Okay. One of the things that you talk about, um, you went to school. You
Yes.
okay.
Yes, I did. Okay, so as well, parents, your children get older and then they're gone.
Uh-huh.
I went through a divorce. And I'm thinking, okay, God, now what? Now it's just me and you. So now what am I
Yeah.
gonna do? And
Uh-huh.
because me and my husband back then, we had a business, and within that business, I learned a skill. I
Mm.
learned how to build websites. And because I learned how to do that, as we encountered various businesses along the way, those businesses needed websites as well. These are new businesses and they were just getting off ground and they needed websites as well. So I found myself building websites for them. Um, that led me to, you know what, why don't you just go to school? Because I love business. I took care of my father's business as well. Once
Mm.
I got my chair, I started working with him with his business. So I took care of all his bookkeeping, booking his appointments, and things like that.
Uh-huh.
So I decided to go to school. So I went to school for business administration with a concentration in marketing. So that way it would give me, I can solidify my gifts that I had.
Mhm.
So that's what I did. I went to school. And while I was in school, that's when I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Okay,
So
we have another twist in the story. And you just casually let it roll off your tongue
I know,
like,
I'm
yeah.
like,
And then I woke up and had a headache. No, let's
uh,
pause right here for a second. Wait a minute.
I was,
What?
yes, I was diagnosed with breast. So that was like a little wrench thrown in, what I was going through. I'm like, okay, but I didn't. That kind of hit me for a little loop. Thank goodness for the resources we had.
Hmm.
Because when I went and talked to Pastor about it, she sent me the way I needed to go. as far as praying and other people experiencing.
Right.
So that helped me get through this journey a lot.
Okay.
I had a pastor friend that also had went through being diagnosed with breast cancer. So I called her
Mm.
and was talking to her. She said, okay, let's get ourselves together. She said, I need you to put on your big girl drawers. She said, before you start thinking like negative, because you know negative thoughts are gonna come. I'm not saying
Right.
that they come. Um, so she said, first, what you need to find out is find out what your diagnosis is. They told you you have it. So you had to wait to find out what stage it is. I had to wait for all of that. That's the most agonizing thing, honestly, the wait. So I had to wait for the doctor to come to tell me exactly what's wrong. So she's like, don't have all those things running through your mind. Let's get some facts. So I said,
Mm.
okay. So it was second stage breast cancer. So I was glad I didn't have to go through chemotherapy. I just had to go through the radiation.
Mm.
So the break that I had for school, in my semester break, that's when I kind of went through all of that, went through my surgery. I had a lumpectomy done. I went through the surgery, and then I had my little downtime, but I was able to start back at school right when it was time for me to start back. So, I was down for a little while, but I was still able to continue on to
Yeah.
get my classes complete. So I was glad of that because that kept me motivated as well. Okay, we got a hiccup right here, but I still want to finish my classes. So
Mm.
that's what I got that done.
You got that
Yes,
done.
got
She
it
says,
done.
I got that done. Like it was just a piece of cake. Oh,
Yeah.
you are just amazing. This is just wonderful. We need to hear these type of stories every day to keep us motivated and to keep us going. So, how did you become an entrepreneur?
Well, by me going to school and taking my class,
Mm,
the more I encourage people, I love to encourage people. So if I hear somebody tell the story of what they want to do or was thinking about doing concerning their business, I
hmm
encourage them even more, start giving them ideas. And by me doing that, I had a lot of people come to me and ask me questions. That
mm,
transitioned to me, hey, let me do a business. So I did. I was already doing websites. So then I just started to begin to do my business on building websites and helping businesses market their uh their websites and their businesses. So
hmm
that's how I started. So once I graduated, I um started my business Rescue Me Virtually because
Rescue
that's
Me
what I was
virtually. I
Rescue
love the
Me
name of
Virtually.
that.
Yes, and decided just to help new business owners, just getting off the ground, just getting started, don't have a
Mhm.
clue of what to do, how to do it. Those are the ones that I help. So I'll
Oh,
help you from the beginning stage of at least getting your vision manifested, taking you
mm.
through the processes, getting your website done, marketing your website, and at least gets you some visual presence and get it done in a professional manner.
And that's
Making
so
sure.
important. That's so important to have that foundation, for
Yeah.
whatever it is that you're starting and to have somebody that can go through that process with you. That's really, really beautiful. So that has become your lot in life, so to speak, your
Yes.
main thing that you do that you really, really enjoy doing. I personally
Mhm.
have interacted with her and her business, and she knows what she's doing. Let me tell you that she definitely knows what she's doing. Um,
Yes.
you also, one of the things that you are president of, well, you're the president of equipment. What was that name again? Of
Equipment
the,
connections for
um,
children.
yes, Equipment Connections for Children. What's that?
Yes. That's an organization that loans out medical equipment to families that have children with
Oh,
disabilities.
okay.
So if a child has a disability, sometimes the family is waiting on insurance, or the insurance might not cover certain equipment. So what
Right.
we do is we loan out equipment to the family.
Oh,
They get to borrow it for a certain length of time. If they need to extend the time, then they can have their time extended. It doesn't matter how long they keep it.
mhm,
We just want to make sure that that family has exactly what they need. So in order to get the equipment, we have a online, like a online store. So they can go to online and they can look through our inventory and see what they have, and then fill out the information that's needed. They can come and pick up the equipment, and then just keep it until, and then just renew as they need to renew. Now, once they're finished with it, they can bring it back. We clean it, we sanitize it, and make it ready for the next family that needs the equipment.
Mm,
And we're also, they could take in donations.
okay.
So that'll replenish, maybe a family's keeping something longer. So it helps our inventory, increases. And we're not just for Maryland or in the Maryland area. We do DC. We've gotten
Mm,
as far as Pennsylvania, Virginia. So it's all over. And I don't think a lot of people know about equipment connections
right,
for children. So
right.
really, I want to be able to spread the word. We have a gala that's coming up on October the 26th. Excuse me, it's a masquerade gala, but it's also a fundraiser.
Mm,
So right now we're working on compiling the information, getting it together. We're looking for sponsorship. If anybody wants to sponsor, doesn't matter how small or how big, we have sponsorship packages. You can always donate. Um, and for this particular event, we're looking for sponsorships for smaller things. We want to have silent auction. So we're looking for sponsorship for silent auction, or if somebody has something they want to give to our silent auction. Just anything. And you can go to equipmentconnections.org, or, inbox me as well and just ask, how
okay.
can I help? Because we would love for anybody to help and contribute to help these families.
That is wonderful that you are part of
Mm,
such a great organization that's willing, because we know that families need help, you know.
yes,
Things are expensive. We know medicine is
exactly.
expensive. So I can only imagine
Yes.
what medical equipment costs, you know, the different
Mhm.
types of medical equipment. So I'm glad that you announced that you're part of that. Particularly, or not just a part, but she's the president. And
Yeah.
so we want to make sure that we say that also. So Mary, um, what would you say to somebody who may be a little down because they're experiencing some type of adversity in their
Mhm.
life? Because everybody is not as upbeat as you. Everybody is not just determined
Mhm.
as you know. So what would you say that because sometimes people can be dealing with things, but um it may not be on the same level of what you've experienced, but to
Sure.
them it's
I,
still something heavy, you know.
right.
What would you say to them?
I would tell somebody like that is, I think it's best for them to seek some type of counseling. It doesn't have to be a
Okay.
psychiatrist, but I would
Right.
say seek some type of counseling, because everybody can't overcome quickly like others. It might take a
Right.
while for them to do that. So I would say seek some type of counseling or support groups or some type of help that can get you, to get you through the process. That'll help
Yes.
you help you along the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And of
Mhm.
course, we cannot do anything without God.
No, we
Amen.
cannot. No, we
We
cannot.
cannot do anything without God. One of the things that you say in the book that I thought was just awesome, you say, not being able to walk did not devastate me. It
Mhm.
was the joy of being alive that
Yeah.
consumed me. And so I think
Yes.
a lot of times in any situation, the fact that he woke us up this morning, we still use
Yeah.
that, you know,
I
but you have that ability. I'm still alive. So that
yes.
means God is not through with me, and whatever may be going on with me, he's going to get me through it. And I think throughout our conversation today, that's what you're saying, that God's got you, that he's
Yeah.
going to get you through. So to anybody that's listening out there, we want you to know that God has you, that he said he'd
Yes.
never leave you or forsake you, that he
Amen.
would always be with you. So we want you to be encouraged on that fact of him saying he's not going to leave you alone. No, never alone, the song says.
That's
No,
right.
never alone. So I thank you for
Amen.
sharing all of this information, because this is a help to men and women everywhere alike that need to understand that we are not in this by ourselves. And in order to live beyond adversity, You understand that I don't have to look like what I've been through. And
Yes.
I think, Mary,
Yeah.
you're a prime example of that. But when people see you like, Mary, what? Where? She gone where? I mean, I can be talking to her on the telephone. I mean, on the phone, on the cell phone, and I'm like, you, where you in the house? No, I'm on 95. I'm headed to such and such. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm scared to go out the door, but Mary's on 95, you know. But I just thank God for you and you being a guest on the show this morning and sharing all of this information. Mary is the author, co-author of Set Apart and Chosen. She's also co-author. Can you tell us about the other book that you're part of as well?
Yes, I have. Y'all, please forgive me. But
Mm-hmm.
I do not market my books like I should. I should.
Okay, we're gonna
And
work
I
on
do have a
that.
couple of yes, and I do have a couple of more. So probably it's best to go to my website to get the other two. But I
Okay.
also want to give I have to give a shout out to Kimberly LeBou of LeBou Publishing because
Okay.
if it was not for Kimberly, I would not have told my story. It
Oh,
was her,
okay.
yes, it was her that encouraged me to share my story. And to me, I didn't think I had a story.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
thinking that, oh, people go through things and we all go through them differently. But what makes my story greater than anybody else's story? So I would have never shared my story if it wasn't for her. So I just want to thank her for pushing me and encouraging me to share my story. And because of that, I was able to do two more books. And one is The Mom and Me, and
Mm.
the other one is based on Christian divorce. So
Oh,
yeah, so those are my other two books that I have.
so that's
So
another saga in your story.
yes,
Another situation, you know.
yes,
We'll have to invite you back to talk about that one. Christians and
yeah,
divorce, you know, that'll
yes,
be a segment. I need to make a note of that
yeah.
to be one of the future shows. But thank you so much for being on our show. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been listening to the remarkable, amazing Mary Murrill share her story of how adversity happened to her, but God just transitioned her from tragedy to triumph. And
Yeah.
she's victorious and she shows it every day. Mary, how can people contact you if they want to get in touch with you to talk about all of the services that you provide?
Okay, sure. First is my book. My book can be you can find it at Mary E. Murrill, MURRILL.com.
Okay.
The my services for Rescue Me Virtually, you can go to rescuemevirtually.com. You can email me at help@rescuemevirtually.com. My social media handles are rescuemevirtually.com. It's on LinkedIn and on Facebook. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Amen. I feel like saying amen right there. Thank you so much for sharing all of this information with us. This has truly been a blessing. You're listening to Your Heart Matters, our new podcast. I'm your host, Deborah Burrus. So excited to be with you this afternoon. So we want to thank you for joining us, and we hope that today's episode has inspired you to take a closer look at what truly matters in your life and in your heart. Remember, each step you take towards understanding and nurturing your inner self is a step towards a more fulfilling and balanced life. If you've enjoyed today's show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to Your Heart Matters on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps us reach more people and continue bringing valuable insights to our community. Also, you can connect with us on Facebook and Instagram, where you can find more updates, behind the scenes content, and a chance to share your thoughts and experiences with us. So, again, until next time, this is your host, Deborah Burrus, saying, Your heart matters. I thank you all for joining us. We look forward to our next session. Make sure you go out and check this out and share it with everybody you know. Until this next time, peace. And I always say, I love you, but God loves you best. Take care. Bye bye.